Hi everyone, Mark here from pondalgasolutions.com, and today I wanted to talk about a very common problem that people have throughout the warm, hot summer months, and of late we have certainly been warm and hot. In Iowa we've hit some temperatures in the last few days of over 100 degrees, and that weather system is apparently moving to the east, and so wherever you are in the U.S. these days, I hope that you're able to keep aeration running 24/7 in your pond, and that your fish and other wildlife are faring well, that you're faring well throughout this, because it can be quite debilitating. If you're outside, you want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water and fluids too, to avoid dehydration. So hope everyone's handling this heat relatively well. But today I want to talk about the issue of green water, murky water, water clarity issues, which so many people write us about. And I want to talk about some non-chemical options that are available to help clear up your pond water, whether you have a large pond or a water garden. Green water, murky, dirty water, just poor water clarity can be caused by several things. Obviously, in the past we've talked about green water in particular, and that is a very small single cell algae that's free floating in the water. The density or the coloration that you're going to see in the water is greatly dependent on the number of these cells that are in the pond, and they can grow quite quickly and multiply quite quickly. You know, it's one of the most common problems that pond owners have throughout the summer months. Murky, dirty, tinted water is another thing that comes up. It may be cloudy. A lot of times this murky water is caused by free-floating particulates. They may be dirt, they may be organic material that's breaking down. It could be inorganic material as well. If you have a filter system in place in your pond and yet you still have this type of clarity problem, a lot of times it's because these particles or these cells are so small that they'll pass right through your filter system without being taken out. Now you can improve this if you have the opportunity to experiment with filter media or the filter pads that might be in some of the devices that are found on the market today. You could try adjusting that, going with a finer mesh filtering pad to see if it does a better job of removing some of this debris. For green water in particular, we've talked in the past about UV light and how that can be helpful. That will create damage or kill these single cell algae. It will make them clump together for easier removal with a filter. Biofilters work particularly well. You can also add desirable plants, surface plants for shading, and a beneficial bacteria on a routine basis, and that may help by reducing nutrients and cutting down sun exposure. You can get green water sometimes to regress that way. But when we're talking about suspended solids that create murky water, these steps probably won't help. If it's organic in nature, bacteria might, but not always. So one of the tools that you can use that we have never talked about on our pond tips thus far is called a flocculant, and it's a very effective way of clearing water in the water column in both small and large ponds. Now, a flocculant or a flock creates a binding effect on material in the water, and this creates a clumping action where single cell algae and other particulates in the pond are grouped together, and this allows for better and easier filtering with your present pond filter. Now, some common flocculants that you'll see on the market today include aluminum sulfate or alum, and a common brand name for this is Phosclear. Phosclear is used, I like to use it in larger ponds for the most part. I don't use it in small ponds very much, but this does a good job of binding up phosphates and clumping them together and pulling them down into the pond for assimilation, and it will clear the water column that way. Another useful product for small ponds, particularly koi ponds, is called montmorillonite clay, and this is also good for clearing the water, and it's very good for fish health. A new product that I wanted to talk about today, which we're excited about, is called Accurel E, and this particular product, I think, has a lot of benefits, potential benefits for the small pond owner. Accurel E is unique because it's new, but it's not new. It's been used in the aquarium industry for over 40 years, but it's new to the pond market. And some of the benefits that I've found are that it's completely organic, it's ecologically safe for fish and other wildlife, it helps to clear out green water or suspended solids, and it allows your current filtration system to work a lot better than it may be currently, and it has a history of being one of the best water clarifiers in the aquarium industry. And so a couple of tips in its use: you simply follow the recommended dosage. There's a handy dosage gauge on the side of every bottle. You would apply the suggested amount and give it about 24 hours, or I should say within 24 hours. You'll want to clean out your filter because it probably will start accumulating a buildup of some of these materials shortly after application. You can apply Accurel a second time within 24 hours, or after about 24 hours I should say, and again you'll want to keep an eye on your filter system and clean that out as necessary. If you don't have a filter in place and still have some of these problems, you can use a skimmer net to remove some clumped material that you may find at the bottom of the pond, and that works well too. But for the most part, we do suggest that this type of a product be used, especially with a small pond anyway, in conjunction with a good filter or a biological filter. So hope this information is helpful. As always, if you have any other questions, contact us at pondalgasolutions.com and we'll be happy to help. Have a great day wherever you are.